Definitely. Where did that come from? Like, is that just the thought process of creating this awesome gimmick? Like, you're the best kept secret. Everyone knows you're a great worker, but how could you create that character? So, how do you create the head and the character and like that schizophrenic nature of it?
Just taking what I knew an audience already knew about me. I knew that if you watched WWE, that you saw me as Leif Cassie, and if anybody was that happy-go-lucky, they had to have some kind of mental illness. And I knew that there were a lot of ECW fans that knew me well before, and if they knew I had been pursuing anything as long as I'd been pursuing it and was not, as far as I was concerned at that time, not achieving some kind of success, that frustration would eventually play out, and I'd have a nervous breakdown. And so I tried different things that would help to demonstrate that I had done just exactly that. That the frustration had finally gotten to me, and I'd snapped. That I had a nervous breakdown.
So, with obviously, I mean, the gimmick is awesome. So, the head itself, where do you get the head from, like the actual physical head? Like, you just took it off a mannequin, or like where did like that actual part come into play?
And Mikey Whipwreck and Spike Dudley found in a barrel in New Britain, Connecticut. The fans used to bring objects for New Jack to use as weapons in his match, and they went through the barrel one night in New Britain, Connecticut, and they found found the head and Beautician's head, and came running up to me and were like, "Here you go, Al. I know you would need something like this." I was like, "That's perfect, thank you." And they've been with me ever since. It got, because you don't know what's going to work or what's not going to work. You just do, and and it did. And I think the reason it did was because, like, at the time I was wrongfully, I had a bad attitude and I had a lot of personal frustration about my career and was pointing the finger at everybody else instead of pointing where it belonged, which is at myself. And that came through whenever I would speak to the head. That frustration came through, and so it was real.
And even in ECW, the Prodigy song "Breathe," it just everything was perfect. The way just the music went, and then they handed out the styrofoam head, and sometimes the lights they'd mess with the lights. It was just in the camera work too. I mean, everything was perfect, frantic craziness, but it fit the character perfectly.
Yeah, it did. It was a perfect storm. It worked really, really, really well. I was very, very fortunate that it ended up working the way it did.